take everything you had basically and start Markaaz. What
Yeah.
was the call?
So Jeff, the call was a big one, and I wished I'd had the courage to do it earlier in my life. But bottom line was basically some years earlier when I was at MasterCard, we created a platform called Track, which was the world's first global trading platform to connect every supplier and buyer on the planet. And we did that because there were two fundamental problems that were unaddressed in the market for all the players that were out there. And the two problems for that platform were, where's my money and where's my stuff? Sounds stupid, but really, really poorly addressed. And we learned something when we created Track. We learned that pre-populating a directory of all the players, which is actually really hard to do, and having them come claim their record is very different to asking people to come sign up onesie twosies. When we created Markaaz, we were thinking about the small business world, and this is well before COVID, well before all the challenges that small businesses have faced. We found there were two fundamental problems that small businesses were facing. Number one is they're drowning in what we call point-to-point solutions, or individual little bits of software that they're sold typically for somewhere between $50 and $200 a month. On average, they subscribe to about 25 of these each. They're using less than 10% of the feature functionality of these programs, and it costs them about 15% of their total expenses. Terrible. Problem number one. And the worst culprits for that is the investment community that keeps encouraging people to create yet another widget or yet another bit of software that doesn't talk to anything else. Terrible. And we're very outspoken about that. Problem number one. Problem number two is they're spending about 15 to 17 days a year verifying who they are for everything they need. I need a new bank loan. I need an insurance policy. I need a lease. I need a whatever. Lots and lots of time wasted. And in the world of small business, that's a lifetime, 15 to 17 days a year. If you want to put a number on it globally, conservatively, that's about $1.7 trillion a year in waste. So that's the second problem. Add to that then the fact that small businesses, most of what they're using to run their small business is cut downs, or as we would call it, kindergarten versions of big software solutions out there. So companies who have big solutions for big enterprises, they shrink them down and say, here you go, small business, let's figure out how much we can charge for this. That's a problem. So there is literally no single community for small businesses to plug into. Amazon doesn't do it. Google doesn't do it. Facebook doesn't do it. All the big names that all blabber about how important small businesses are and how they support them do not do any of this. Let's be very clear about that. And so, armed with the scars and souvenirs we had from building Track, we said, let's build a single unified community for small businesses. By the way, there's about 300 million of them in the world. So getting them together in one place and pre-populating a directory of small businesses is a Herculean task. You know, as they say, boys and girls at home, don't try this. It's hard, it's expensive, and it's complex. We've done it before, and the people who did it with us before are at it again. So that was the big calling, Jeff. We went one step further, which we didn't do in Track. And that is, we wanted to pre-verify everyone in this directory. So as you rightly said at the beginning, we have 119 million. We'll be at about 170 million in the next 4 weeks. And we're going to be at all 300 million of them by the end of this year. We know how we're going to get there. But we've gone to the expense, and we've borne this expense of pre-verifying everyone. That means that if I wanted to find Jeff Bulis Inc., whether you're a big or a small business, you're going to be in the Markaaz directory. And it's the only place on the planet you can find every other business. Number one, you know, whether you're the little hotel or the little coffee shop in Romania or your Walmart in America, we're going to find you in the platform. The difference with Markaaz to everything else is I'll know you've been pre-verified and you're a legit business. Why is that important? Because today, when we've gone through what we've gone through in COVID, 60% of people who supply goods and services to small business have gone pop. They've gone out of business. And we were drowning mid-COVID, because we did a lot of research mid-COVID. We were drowning in people telling us stories. This guy or this company asked me for money, pay up front for these services or these goods, and they never turned up. It's a big issue. Problem number one. Problem number two, small businesses are the number one global target for cyber attacks. Number one. It's not a big company problem. It's not a government problem. It's a small business problem. The number one target for cyber hacks, phishing attempts, etc., is small business. The second problem. And the third thing is everything is expensive for them and they have no leverage. We wanted to turn that whole situation on its ear. That was the calling, and that's what made most of us walk away from, you know, very large other opportunities elsewhere to create this as part of, you know, our calling. And we are doing this not for a quick buck, not for a quick exit. We've funded all of this on our own, but we're doing this to really create a game changer in the market.